Good afternoon, I'm TK, and this is TK's video blog. Good to have you with us, good to see you all again. Welcome. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, let's get right down to it, shall we, and review our movie of the day. This week's movie is Inside Out 2. The movie stars Amy Poehler, Maya Hawke, Kensington Cowman, Lisa Lapira, Tony Hale, Lewis Black, Phyllis Smith, Io Adebari, Adele Exarchopoulos, Paul Walter Hauser, Lilamar Hernandez, Grace Liu, Sumua Nureddin Green, Diane Lane, and Kyle MacLachlan. So, what's the movie about? Well, the plot of this movie is an interesting plot, an entertaining plot, and it's certainly a worthy plot. It's certainly a compelling plot, and I have some thoughts about it, which we'll get to in a little bit here. However, for right now, the plot of the movie is essentially this. The emotions in Riley's head are back this time around, led by joy, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust once again. This time around, however, the young girl Riley, whose emotions these are, she is now 13 and experiencing some new and very conflicting emotions and confusing emotions: anxiety, envy, ennui, boredom in French, and embarrassment. Now these new emotions quickly move into emotion HQ in Riley's head, and they very quickly clash with Riley's original emotions, setting up a major conflict between the two groups of emotions and a journey to find and save Riley's sense of self. So, what happens? Well, as you know, no spoilers here. However, I will say this. The movie is very good, it's very entertaining, and dare I say, it's very emotional. So, let's talk about the movie a little more in depth now, shall we? So the plot of the movie is an interesting plot, an entertaining plot, an engaging plot, worthy of being told, and I like how Riley is now 13, and these new emotions led by anxiety show up and kind of take things over, and how there's a bit of a power struggle between anxiety and joy, and the kind of the resolution there, and also finding Riley's true sense of self. So yeah, I mean, that was all interesting. They force all the characters into very interesting situations, interesting dynamics, interesting pair-ups. And yeah, it's just interesting to see how that all plays out. It's also interesting to see in the climax how anxiety really takes over and really runs rampant. And that really is a comment on how anxiety, I think, in daily life can do that. Now, one thing I will say about anxiety, my thoughts about anxiety, I think that anxiety is really stigmatized in this day and age, especially. And a lot of people think you need medications and you need therapy to deal with it. I think while in some cases that's true, it rises to that level. I think anxiety can also be dealt with on a personal level. You can also calm down from it with coping mechanisms. So I think that anxiety is stigmatized too much as a negative thing though, and it really can be negative, sure, but I think it also has some very positive connotations and positive effects. And I think you see that later in the movie. It can really work with other emotions. It can really be positive if you control it and you let it work with your other emotions. And that is sort of, as I said a minute ago, as I tried to allude to a minute ago, showed in the movie, later in the movie, where anxiety sort of works with the other emotions in a more positive fashion. So that is really kind of well done there too in the movie, in the plot, and an interesting element in the plot as well. And I think it fits into what I was just saying too about anxiety and how it can be a positive thing. But overall, I think the plot, it gels well. It's worthy of being told. It has some great elements, great character dynamics, great team-ups, some great character development as well, which is also good in any plot. And yeah, I mean, overall, just a really strong plot, really strong concept, and really good. Now, the casting in the movie is very well cast. Amy Poehler leads, and she is hilarious. She also radiates joy in her voice, and you can really hear it. And very well cast as Joy, very aptly named, and I'm very impressed with that. Also, too, Phyllis Smith, who many of you remember from The Office, she plays Sadness again. She's really good. You can really hear the heart and emotion in her voice. And Maya Hawke joining as anxiety in this movie, man, she's good. I mean, you can really hear the emotion in her voice. She really brings a lot to the table, and I like it. And really the whole cast, for that matter, they have the believability factor. You've heard me talk about this all season long here. And what that is you want to believe what the actors and actresses, the whole cast, are saying, because if you do, you're going to connect with it. It's going to resonate with you, and I think in this case it does. So the cast, very well cast, they're very well done there, very impressed there. As far as the music in the movie goes, the music is okay. It's really just a score. Now, for me personally, I think all movies need to have a title song like Toy Story had You Have a Friend in Me. So I think that it could have benefited from that. It could have benefited in terms of it stuck in your head and it would have been more memorable. But the music is fine. The music works. It fits the tone of the movie well. So yeah, I think the music is good. Now the editing. So the editing in the movie, as you know, editing is a very big thing for me because I'm an editor myself. And so the editing in the movie, it's a little different because it's an animated movie as opposed to live action. However, the editing is good flow, good rhythm. I thought it was well put together, good continuity throughout. The only thing I would say is there was a little bit of a pacing issue. I thought it was a little slower in spots, and I also thought it was a little bit lower on energy in spots. But that's not a huge issue for me in this movie, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But yeah, overall, I think the editing was pretty well done for what it was and what it was supposed to be. So yeah, I give the editing pretty high marks. So overall, the movie was well done, good concept, good story, good plot, everything made sense, good editing. The music could have benefited from a title song, I thought, but that's not a huge issue that they didn't have it. I just thought it would have been better, would have made it better. casting great. I mean, everything really worked in the movie. It was well done. So, with all that being said, the moment of truth now has arrived. What would I give the movie out of 20, and would I recommend it to y'all? Well, I think I'd have to give the movie an 18 out of 20, and here's why. Because while the movie was good, while everything worked in the movie, again, it had a little bit of pacing issues, and there was a little bit of lack of energy in some spots, but those aren't insurmountable in this case, because I think the casting worked, the plot worked, those kind of balanced out the things that were a little bit lacking in the movie. So it's for that reason it has to get an 18 out of 20. I have to knock off those 2 points. But the other things kind of make up for the 2 points that are knocked off. So that's why it has to get an 18 out of 20. And I would absolutely recommend watching it. 18 out of 20 for sure. I hope you really all enjoy it, because it really is good. Definitely an 18 out of 20, and I would definitely recommend watching it. Alright, well, looking at my watch, it looks like we're about out of time. So please, until next week, remember I'm putting in the comment section now. All season long I want to hear from you. What did you like about the blog? What didn't you like about the blog? What do you like to see me do differently in this blog? And then some. I'd love to hear from you all. I really, really would. Also, please remember, all season long you can comment, recommend a movie, TV show, book, song, album for me to review, and I might just review it for you all right here on TK's video blog. Now, I can't always promise you you'll like the review, or agree with the review, or agree with everything I have to say in the review, rather, but what I can promise you is I will always keep it fair, and I will always keep it honest. That is my commitment to you all, as always. So, with that all being said, until next week, take care, be safe, and goodbye, everyone. Have a great weekend. I'll see you right back here next week.